How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Madame Daley with us today. She could say her name, what she does, all of that jazz.
Yeah, so I'm Madame Daley, and I perform with the Starchild band. I'm a glam rock artist from New York City, and I'm excited to talk with you today.
All right, awesome. The first question, I did a little bit of research on your artistry, which is really great. I had the chance to listen through some of the unreleased stuff, so I'm excited. I'm sure it is literally right around the corner, so I'm
Yes.
sure you're very stoked about that. But how did you start out? How did you get into music? Give me the anthology story. I'm just curious on how everything came to be. Has music always been a part of your life? How did it all come to be, as they say?
Yeah. So, I've always loved like singing and dancing. I actually did Irish dance growing up until I was about like 15.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And so, my being close to my Irish heritage, being around those like folk musicians and dancing. So that was always a big part of my life. And then I also did, choir, I did theater, all that good stuff. But I didn't start really like writing original music until I was about 14, 15. I bought like a shitty $60 guitar.
As we all do.
Yeah, used. And I started teaching myself guitar on YouTube.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And then I just started writing from there. I've always had this like very creative background, like I've done photography, videography, obviously theater. And so it was kind of one of those things of like, well, which one do I pursue? And music was always my biggest passion. And so when I went to college, I decided to major in music business.
Oh, very deep.
Yeah, because obviously like there's a lot to learn there. And I feel like I've had a long history of training. And so it was cool because I went to CU Denver. And so the music business program, they still include music classes. And so I still got to do that during school. But I also got to like learn a lot more things that I didn't know, artist management, venue management, marketing, like everything you might need to be a successful artist. And that was kind of their model there was for the DIY artist, which is
very cool.
Yeah, which is a really cool and unique sort of model there. And once I started being able to kind of just play songs on the fly, like pull up Ultimate Guitar, that kind of stuff, I started doing doing these like cover gigs, at bars. I grew up in Tampa, Florida for the most part. So, a lot of those like beach bars and sports bars. Sure. And so I started, playing those cover gigs. And that was sort of my first sort of introduction into performing music just by myself, solo, acoustic. And I've always really enjoyed that. I still do that to this day. I actually have a gig tomorrow, solo
Very
acoustic. Cool. Yeah. But it's funny because like the solo acoustic versus my original music is sort of part of why Madame Daley exists. I kind of wanted to create that separation between, the gigs that pay the bills, or at least help pay the bills, not all the way. And then, my original music, because the solo acoustic gigs, even though I love them and it's so nice to like connect with people that way, Madame Daley and the Starchild band, that's a whole production,
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of the overview.
That's cool. I kind of find a lot of similarities. I almost went to school for music business as well. I was just like, I was in college and doing my marketing degree, and then I think I was in my senior year, and I was like, it would be really cool if I just started a YouTube channel and interviewed, cool people like yourself. And I feel like obviously I could look back and want to do that, but I feel like the choice that I made was a good one, because obviously I've been doing this for almost 7 years, which is kind of wild to me. Well, thank you. And it's cool to hear your journey as well about like, growing up and in music and stuff like that, and how it was like fostered. I feel like a lot of people really love music and are really involved, and so I appreciate that your family was like so in tune to loving music off the gate, and then you kind of follow along with that passion, and I think that's really cool. And then how long have you kind of been gigging with your band collectively? Because I know you have a group along with just your solo stuff, and I thought that was really interesting. So I guess how did you kind of meet the rest of the band as well? Because I did mention in Angela's, shout out to Angela at Muddy Paw. I feel like I got to give her multiple shout outs in this video, but she said that you have a bunch of women that are in the LGBTQ plus community, and like, how did you kind of formulate that? Because I think that was also really cool too. And when I initially got the email, I was like, that's something I want to be able to support and be able to talk about. So kind of how did that come to be, and how did you meet all these other wonderful women?
Yeah, so for the Starchild band, once I moved back to New York post-pandemic, because I actually had moved here after college in 2019, and then what happened there.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I got laid off and I had to come back to Tampa. And so May 2021, I moved back to New York, and I'm sort of just shot out of a cannon.
Sure, yeah.
I ended up playing 46 gigs last year. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they were all my solo acoustic cover gigs,
Sure.
Bars. During the summer, I had a minimum of at least 2 gigs a week. I had all these residencies. Yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. I do not know how I sustained that. Literally, kudos, like, yeah. if I try to do that right now, I'd just fall on the floor. Literally.
I don't blame you. Yeah, that sounds insane.
But I was just so pent up. I had been unemployed for 10 months. I hadn't lived in Tampa for so long because I went to school in Colorado that like I didn't have a lot of friends, and so I didn't have a car. Like I was literally just stuck in a house for 10 months. So anyway, so I was shot out of a cannon, and I actually crowdfunded this release.
Awesome. Yeah, I did see that as well.
Yeah, so Plaid Dog Studios has this really cool crowdfunding model. So basically they find independent artists who maybe have never had the chance to be like professionally recorded, and they don't necessarily have a full band together yet, but they want to. And so they work with you to crowdfund. They record your first single with you prior to crowdfunding anything, on a kind of this good faith of like, if we have a single, it's a lot easier to crowdfund.
Sure.
And then, if you hit your goal, you get to do the full project. If you don't hit your goal, they kind of work it out where you get something out of it.
Sure.
And I don't know, it's just such a cool model. But I had always known that I wanted to do this full band thing. I didn't have the musicians together yet, and so I decided to kind of pursue this path. So obviously the EP got put on hold because I started crowdfunding literally February of 2020. Just bad timing overall. But I did end up hitting my goal, which is incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm
Kudos.
very, very lucky and fortunate for that. I just have such a wonderful network of like friends and family who are so supportive.
Awesome. Always good.
Yeah. So anyway, once the EP was finished, cut to from 2020 February to September of 2021. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I did all those sessions except for my vocals remotely because Plaid Dog is located in Boston.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
yeah. And those sessions would have been socially distanced anyway. So, I mean, obviously it's different to be in person, but still it was just like very telling of the
time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so after the EP was finished, I was like, well, I got to get a band together if I want to play this live.
Sure.
And I had my friend Ruba, who I actually went to high school theater with.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. She was in music college at the time in Brooklyn, and so she was like, oh, I know this great guitarist Susie from one of my classes. Like, I don't really know her well, but she just seems very talented. And so I approached Susie, and Susie was like so about it. I think a lot of women really want to perform and play music with
Yeah,
other
sure.
women, you
Yeah.
know, and there's so many bands where you're kind of the token woman in the bands, you know, and so she was really excited about the idea of like, I purposely was trying to get a group of all girls together.
Sure. Yeah.
And so she was like, oh, well, I know this girl, Jasmine from high school. Again, like kind of this thing of like, I don't really know her, but I've seen on Instagram that she plays
Yeah,
bass.
she's sick. She's
Yeah,
tight. Yeah, I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you. Yeah.
exactly. And so then like Jasmine was like all on board. They came to see me at one of my like acoustic gigs, and they were like, "Oh, this seems so cool." And so we had the three of us together, and we started playing together. And then we're like, "Okay, well, we got to find a drummer." And we have all girls, like we have to find a girl drummer. And I mean, drummers in New York are already hard because like who has room for a kit, you
Oh,
know?
100%. Yeah.
And then just, you know, there's not as many female drummers. So I sort of just got creepy on Instagram, started going through hashtags, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I eventually found Lexi. I DM'd her, and she was like so about it
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
she is such I mean, all the girls in my band are just so incredible, but Lexi's been playing drums for like a decade.
Ooh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and she's only 22. She literally just turned 22. Yeah.
What? Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
no,
so cool.
she's badass. But she's like, I am so bad at it because the only other band she'd ever played in was like a emo cover band, and all the guys in her band were like in their 40s, and she's like this little like 22-year-old like thing. Yeah, so fun, and she's like this little thing, and she's just so badass. It's amazing.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it came together, and it just so happened that you know, most of them are part of the LGBTQ plus community, and yeah, it's been incredible. Like we just clicked right away, and I
Sure.
just feel
Yeah.
so lucky to have these girls in my band who, you know, we share this passion of female empowerment,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, fighting for LGBTQ plus rights. And so it's really worked out in the most amazing way.
That's really cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I always say this, and I probably will continue to say it, but it's just cool how music brings people together in just the wildest ways. Like, I find that, you know, even sometimes, like, I just released an interview with a band from Australia, and I would have, if you had told me this 7 years ago, that I'd be interviewing bands from Australia, people from New York, people from, you know, Europe, people from Asia, I would have been like, you're nuts. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way it's gonna happen. And so now, you know, now doing it for as long as I have, it's still kind of a shock to me. So it's just cool that the way that music just finds a way to be like, you know what, you're talented. You're going to find other talented people like wherever. So it's just really neat.
Yeah, I mean, and even just like being in New York City and playing these cover gigs, like one of my favorite, believe it or not, one of my favorite residencies I ever held was at the Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square.
Oh wow.
And that's because it's people from, it's obviously it's all tourists, but it's people from all over the world.
Sure,
It's people
yeah.
that don't even really speak English, and they're just like so pumped and so excited, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just it's amazing. Like the amount of people I've met from all over the world that are just like just so excited to see a live musician on their trip to New York. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I've been to New York a handful of times. I used to live in New Jersey and then moved to Pennsylvania, and I can only imagine just people from all across the world are always, when I tell people like, oh, I'm from New Jersey, they're like, oh my God, you're so close to New York City, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just wild. So, so obviously glad everything worked out, and and the other cool thing that I liked about your story about just crowdfunding an EP, I feel like that is such a cool thing, and obviously kudos to your family and friends that were able to help out, because I feel like I feel like it's really cool that people like that, like especially people that are close to you, are really supportive of what you do, because I feel like sometimes there's people that are like, I don't know, and I gotta feel fortunate that my parents are very supportive of what I do as well. So it is a very cool thing, and so I obviously have to give you credit for that. And then as well, we talked about it a little earlier about just playing shows, a ton of shows like last year. Now that I feel like knock on wood, we're kind of out of the thick of it at least. How has that been? Because I feel like everybody that I've had on recently, within the past probably 6 to 7 months, it's been wild. So I imagine, as someone who is, very, very active in terms of playing shows, like, how has it been for you to kind of come back and obviously have live interaction with people, either fans, people who are new, whatever it may be? Like, how has that been for you to be out there and playing shows again?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like I said, May 2021, just like as soon as indoor dining was allowed again, it was
You
just
were
like,
in it.
I was there. I was like emailing literally everybody. And it's funny because you can look like at videos from like earlier in that year, and like there's like the plexiglass in front of me on the stage,
Oh,
and like
wow.
that kind of stuff, like there's like I'm like in a corner and the tables are pushed like so far away. And then slowly and slowly and slowly it's gotten better and better. And then cut to a few months ago when the Starchild band first played their show together, and it's people dancing and with strangers that they don't even
Yeah,
know, and
sure,
like
yeah.
it's definitely like it's funny how you can see the progression of it, like
I also think it's
through
just like
that, yeah.
heartwarming in general, like, just
Oh,
to
yeah.
see how much people like. I think it's just the dichotomy of like how important music is, and how I feel like sometimes it goes and is maybe even slightly neglected in that way, but like how crucial it is to, I feel like, a lot of people's lives, whether we realize it or not. And so I feel like over the pandemic, I hope that people have kind of come to the idea that, like, music is important. Music is, part of our lives, and, obviously it affects our emotions and, how we go about things. And so, obviously, best of luck with, the shows going further. And I'm glad that you're able to, just get the full band together and just go at it. So, obviously best of luck with the shows going further. But the next question I have for you is kind of, I guess we kind of alluded to it, but we'll kind of delve into it a little bit more. But what are some of the people that kind of influenced you early on getting into music, and then who influences your style and more currently now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, growing up doing Irish dance and being kind of connected to my culture, there's always been that traditional Irish music
Sure. Yeah.
in my life. It's funny, like the Daley side of the family, they love music so much, but there's maybe one or two musicians, and we have a gigantic Irish family, as you can imagine. So like they're like, when they see music, they're like, oh my God, like they're just so excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like I was thinking about it the other day, because I feel like a lot of people, like their parents start playing their kind of music that they like at a very young age, and it's kind of like, this is what you listen to, which is great because then you're exposed to these amazing, like, legendary artists. But it's funny, my parents, even though they're such music lovers, and I think they both have an amazing taste in music, they kind of just let me and my siblings like listen to Radio Disney or like whatever it was.
Okay.
Like they just kind of let us like discover our taste in our own time, which is kind of cool, because like, starting like whenever Spotify came out, I remember sort of just exploring on my own, and I've been able to sort of shape my own music taste, and
Sure.
then like being like, oh, I really love this band, and then my mom's like, oh, I love that band, I saw them back in the 80s, or all that kind of stuff. And like, you know what I mean, like just like sort of getting to shape it on my own, and then getting to connect with older family members that way. It's very cool.
That's cool. I do kind of find that the similarity, because like my dad and my mom are very much grew up in the 70s classic rock, and so there was plenty of times that my dad would be working out in the garage and just have like the radio blasting and just listening to just a bunch of classic rock bands. And as a kid, like, you can't help but get like influenced by that, and you're like, man, I love like Kiss, I love the Styx, like these are bands that like I will actively go to track down for like my vinyl collection, even though I know my parents have them, and so it's cool that your parents allowed not only for you to like find your own music, but also kind of little sprinkles of their
Yes,
taste
exactly.
as well. um
Yeah.
and I think you're the first person that I've had on in quite a bit that has been like, I just go on Spotify, I just let it do its thing, and then just show me bands that I'm not familiar with, or and then I share them with my parents and be like, yeah, like I checked out this band, and they were like, oh my god, I've been listening to this band since like the 80s or the 90s or
Yeah.
whatever. And so that's really cool. And so obviously, I'm sure you guys have a vast collection of different artists and vibes there. But kind of to follow up in that same sort of lane, what are some bands that you're currently listening to on Spotify that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like so much of Madame Daily is inspired by those classic rock bands.
Yeah.
But of course, I listen to modern bands. I think a band that's been a really big influence to me is Haim.
Ooh, yes, they're
Yeah,
great.
I mean, obviously, the all girls and all that kind of stuff. But I really love how they sort of take that 80s synth sound and tie it in with a little bit of that classic rock, but also bring it into the modern age.
Modern, yeah.
Yeah, it's sick. And then I also have been loving Wet Leg.
Ooh,
Do you know them?
No, I have not. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I believe it's two girls. I believe they're Welsh, I want to say. But yeah, you're like, I don't know. But they're really, really talented, really good. I think Harry Styles covered one of their songs recently.
Oh wow! All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I did
So.
notice the Harry Styles photo right
Oh
behind
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah. I have a very big gallery wall right here.
That is, I know, I did see that, and I was like, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, we got Prince, we got the Rolling Stones, we got Haim, we got a lot of people back there.
Madame Daly's got it all on the
Yes.
back wall, so I
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. It was really cool. Also, I do have to point out, I love that neighbor Totoro poster to your left. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge Ghibli fan, so I also have a poster. I will have to pull it out inevitably in the question that I'll ask later on. But yeah, that I like your selection of photos and musical memorabilia there.
Thank you.
The next question I have for you, Madam, is obviously you are a cover artist and you do your own solo stuff, and so I feel like this is a very poignant question to you specifically. I know you do a lot of covers, but if there was one as the collective band, like what one would you want to cover that you haven't already?
Ooh, we have a 4-piece setup, and then when we do the originals, we bring on this amazing pianist named Leah. But I would love to do a Joe Cocker's version of Little Help from My Friends.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Are you familiar with it?
I am familiar with it.
Yeah.
That would be really sick, actually.
Yeah, I mean, because his voice is just amazing, but there's like the backup vocals, there's the horn section. It's like a whole production, but I would love to cover that.
That would be, if I had to put my metaphorical coin in the hat, that's what I would do. So, if you can somehow swing that,
Someday.
I
Someday.
hope. But guys, if you have any other covers for the Madame, drop them in the comments. I'm sure she'll check them out if she hasn't already done the cover already. So, the next question I have for you, personal favorite of mine, what is your favorite food to eat?
Food to eat. Ooh, I'm definitely a sushi person. Love sushi. Yeah, I also, being in New York, like there's just, you can get the best of the best cuisine from literally anywhere in the
Oh,
world.
100%.
So I love to go to K-Town, get some Korean barbecue, get some soju, yeah, all that.
Oh, that's a good choice. I feel like you're really pandering to me because I am Korean, so
Okay.
So I was like, okay, Madam, appreciate it, bless.
I'm not pandering, I swear. I love it. Also, my brother's actually Korean. So.
Oh, very cool, very
Yeah.
cool. So then
Yeah.
you know the vibes.
Yes. Yes.
I have to agree with that. I love Korean barbecue, so any chance that someone's like, let's go get some KBB, let's do it. Like, I'm all about it. So, The next question I have for you, Madame, is if you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest feature on an up-and-coming record of yours or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, do you have any in mind?
Yeah, I mean, this question gets asked a lot. I just feel like there's so many people I would love to. Obviously, like, you know, eyes in the sky thing would obviously be hairstyles.
Ooh,
Also,
okay.
he just like he doesn't do features on anything. But he
Maybe
loves to
this will
bring
be the
people on
first one,
stage.
you know?
Yeah. You know, but that's like a pipe dream. Yeah, I mean, really, like any of those legendary women, I would love to, you know, Stevie Nicks or, like I said, Haim. Yeah, there's just so many.
I feel like Stevie Nicks doesn't do a lot of features either, so I feel like that would
No.
be pretty wild. So
Yes.
if anybody has some connections to Stevie Nicks, listen,
Yeah.
I'm all about manifestation. So I mean, listen, if you want to make the Madame happy, which I mean, I feel like we all want to, you know, Twitter. That's all I'm gonna say. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've said it once. I'm probably gonna say it a bunch of times more, but that's the way to do it. You know, manifestation. You guys got it. I know it. The next question I have for you, Madame, is obviously you play guitar, you sing, you probably play a bunch of other instruments. But if there was another one you could master, what would it be?
Ooh, probably keys.
Ooh,
You know,
okay, all right.
I have, you know, I can do some basic scales and chords and stuff, but I feel like as a vocalist, like it makes sense to be able to sit behind the piano and just play like yeah, exactly, a ballad and just belt your heart out.
It is really cool. Like you know, honestly, you know, it's probably a little bit cliche to say, but like anytime I think about like keys and singing, I just think about Stevie Wonder, man. Like how talented it takes, you know, how much talent in him, as well as just the talent to just rip it on the keys, and then also just have like an amazing voice on top of all of that. It's just like, oof,
Yeah.
mind blown, you know.
I actually got to see him live once. I know.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I would love to see him. I feel
That
like
is,
he would be
like-
so tight.
That is one of my like top like I saw him live. Yeah, it was funny. It was at this music festival called Grand Doozy in Denver.
Okay.
Which went out of business, so
Aw.
it doesn't exist anymore. But it was while I was working as a photographer for my college newspaper, so I got to go as press.
Oh, that's so cool, so cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it was amazing.
oh man, I'm low key a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. That's like it's on the bucket list. There's like plenty of like artists that I want to see that would just be absolutely killer, and I'm like, you know, in my heart I have a little bit of a pit now because I'm like, man, it'd be
I'm
so
so
cool to
sorry.
see. It'd be so cool to see Stevie Wonder. I had a friend of mine just go see Paul McCartney, and I was just like, no, oh man. So he would be another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I saw Billy Joel literally like 2 weeks ago.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
Oh.
I have the same thing where I have like the bucket list, and I'm slowly making it down. I bought tickets to see Lady Gaga next month. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see as many legendary people as I can.
I don't blame you. So I feel like we'll have to compare bucket lists and see where we're at. But I have not gotten that far. I just hope that inevitably, like, I'll be able to. My bucket list is more like, can I interview like Paul McCartney? I know it's very out there, but I'm gonna manifest and believe that there will be a time where I could do that. But
Yes, exactly.
the next question I have for you, the Madame, is obviously kind of continuing in that musical segue. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, including yourself, who would be on it?
Dream tour lineup. Whew. You know what? I've actually always Walk the Moon was my favorite high school band.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I've seen them. I don't think it's 10 times just yet, but we're getting close.
All
I mean,
right.
you know, it's been a decade of them touring and performing
Sure,
and stuff.
yeah.
So just kind of like anytime I've had the opportunity, I've gone. So yeah, definitely probably Walk the Moon. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else we add in?
I I just feel like I'm just like picking people that I love.
I feel like I feel like you have to, you know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well go for the gusto, you know.
Like it doesn't even matter if we're similar music. Hosier.
Oh, okay, all right.
His songwriting is incredible. His voice is crazy good. So I've always really loved Hosier. Maybe Group Love.
Ooh,
big fan
okay.
of Group Love.
All right.
I feel like I'm just naming like my favorites from high school now.
That's all right. That is all right.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I feel like that would be like a nice mix of like kind of there's like some plenty of like alt vibes in there. So I feel like that's in the realm of possibility if I had to, you know, if I had to put the metaphorical coin in the hat there.
Yeah, let's hope so.
The next question I have for you, Madame, kind of again in the same lane. We've just been talking about some like awesome bands and seeing them perform. Do you have any particular performances that you remember that you're just enamored by, just like the stage performance or like the way that they were like just singing live? Like who do you think puts on an awesome live performance?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about Stevie Wonder. Like,
yes,
that was one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen. I got to see the Stones.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Oh,
yeah,
man, you are just killing me.
I always say this. I'm like, I try to spend my money on as many experiences as possible. And you know, with these legendary artists, like you never know when you're gonna get that opportunity again.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's
and
good.
So like I saw them in 2019, so I got to see them while Charlie was still, you know, kicking, and so that was amazing. But yeah, I mean, Mick Jagger, come on, you can't beat it.
That's true. That's true. He's one of the greatest of all time for sure. So
yeah,
again, the pit in my chest just grew a little bit bigger, but I respect it because it's like, again, such a legendary artist, such, you know, just a legendary band as well too. So I gotta give you props for that, as well as again Stevie Wonder. Again, real upset about that personally, but a great answer all around. The next question I have for you, Madame, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but do you have a favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Ooh, okay. So I will say, starting with favorite movie, Breakfast on Pluto is. Are you familiar with it at all?
I am not, not at all.
Yeah, so it's a movie from like the 2000s. It stars Cillian Murphy, and it follows the story of this transgender woman named Kitty.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it's sort of about her like discovering herself. She was sort of raised by this, it's set in Ireland in the 70s, and she was raised by this priest. And so it's a really, really touching story. And obviously it like encompasses a lot of those like iconic fashion moments of the 70s and music moments. And that soundtrack was sort of my introduction to glam rock.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, and that movie my mom showed me because she's just an insane huge Cillian Murphy fan. She loves some Cillian Murphy, but she also like loved that music, and she would play it. And Wig Wam Bam by Sweet was on that album, and so like I just have good memories of my younger brother like sitting in his car seat like swinging his legs, like Wig Wam Bam, like so I love that movie. And then as far as shows, like I'm a big TV watcher. So I have such an issue picking a favorite show. I will say like one of my comfort shows is probably Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah. Any Michael Schur show, I'm all about it.
I am a huge Andy Samberg fan, so as soon as it's like I was already on board, and then you just can't help but just like love it. It's just so goofy, but also at the same time like there's some really like treasured moments in that show. So I think it's like a good mix of just like wholesome and funny, and that's what I'm all about here. So I feel that. So
yes, I love Andy Samberg so much. I actually, my friend, I'm looking at it right now, my friend bought me one of those like prayer saint candles of Andy Samberg. Do you want me to grab it? You want to see it?
Yes, I want to see it. I'll grab my photo.
Okay. What I love about it too is that it's like old school Andy Samberg. It's from SNL days.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. Oh my god. That is the great. I need someone to buy it. Please, if you know me, please buy that for me. I don't even.
Yeah, I think she got it on Etsy, but when I just like died when I opened it, because like obviously like I love Andy Samberg, but I would have never thought to like buy a Saint Candle, you know.
I don't think
So
anybody
good.
really does, but I feel like you're blessed if you do have that in your
Yeah.
home. You know,
Yeah,
I want Andy Samberg to watch over me like that. But
exactly.
as I mentioned, Madame, earlier, I did notice your Totoro poster, so I figured I'd show mine off, which is
Oh,
the Howl's Moving
oh my
Castle.
God, love Studio Ghibli.
That is arguably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I put it on whenever I feel terrible, so usually like when I like move or something like that, this is like this is the first movie that I watch in anywhere I go. So I will probably watch it today,
Yeah,
just for the
that's
record.
a good one.
So I have to say that one's my favorite. Do you have a particular favorite Ghibli movie?
Yeah, I mean, I probably Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh,
Yeah. There's
in the
just like
heart.
there's the childhood nostalgia there of like watching it as a kid, but also I don't know, I just love that story so much.
It's just so heartfelt, and I love it. So I gotta give you kudos for that, because that one's definitely up there. I mean, obviously Hal's my favorite. I love the fact that the main character is Christian Bale, essentially, and you just I can't help but think about Batman, but now also at the same time I can't help but think about, like, Hal himself. So as synonymous of a role as you can possibly be. And then I don't know, I really like Mononoke. I think that one's another one that's just like, again, very of like, I feel like it's very transcendent, where like it's just about nature, so I think it's one that I like watching, as much as it's can be difficult to watch, and then you're just like, man, I think we just need to just like be more environmentally friendly.
Totally. Animation is just such a beautiful art form. And, I feel like there's like, unless you're like a big anime watcher, like I tend to watch anime from time to time.
Oh, I'm on the wave.
Yes, yeah. But I feel like not enough adults appreciate it, I feel like it gets sort of written off in a way, unless you are a fan of, anime or adult animated shows. But it's just gorgeous. And
I think I'm just a kid. I think I'm just a kid at heart. That's what I realized.
Yeah.
Is like, that's why I think I enjoy it so much. Like when I talk to other people and they're just like, yeah, I'm just, and you talk to other people that like that type of stuff, and you're just like, man, they're also just as much of a kid as a heart. So I feel like if you watch anime, you're just a kid at heart, and that's
and
great.
I mean, I think it's better that way. I think everybody should be that way.
It just makes it more light and fun, so I
Yes.
gotta give props to that. So but yeah, that's I again, to segue off the Studio Ghibli stuff, I just like, man, can't the art form beautiful, the soundtracks, that's what I'm gonna try to track down, is just all the Studio Ghibli vinyl I could possibly find. So
Yeah.
very cool. But the next question I have for you, Madame, getting into, I guess it could be technically darker territory, but if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
Ooh, I think probably, because the EP is finally coming out, I would probably take Astral Weeks by Van Morrison.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I mean,
Alright.
that album is one of my favorites, just period, but it's also like Madame George off that album is what is part of where I got my name from.
Sure, yeah.
And so I feel like that'd be fitting.
Ooh,
for right now.
all right.
Yeah.
I like that choice. That one I haven't heard. I don't think based off Dald Noggin, I don't think I've heard that one yet. So that's a good one. I can agree.
It's a great album. You should give it a spin for sure.
Definitely. The next question I have for you, Madam, I've been asking this just, I think, within the past year, just because I know a lot of people have had more opportunities to listen to artists and find out, about them and stuff. And, I appreciate all the people that have been devoted enough to watch all of the interviews that I've done. Is quite a milestone. So kudos to you guys. But what do you want people to take away from, not only yourself, but, your artistry, how you write music, what you're trying to, I guess, I don't want to say, but what are you trying to allow people to understand about what you create and why you create it?
Yeah, I think like growing up, I always sort of felt like on the outside a bit. I was a
Sure.
very shy
Yeah.
kid, but I knew that I loved to perform, and there was kind of these like opposing forces, right? And slowly but surely, just as an adult, you kind of just gain more confidence, and you're kind of like, fuck it, the world is burning. Why am I, you know,
That's
why
big
do I care?
facts.
Yes, yeah. And so that's kind of a big integral part of what I would hope Madam Daly can sort of get across, is that
Sure.
literally like, who fucking cares? Go dance, go sing, be yourself, be colorful and joyful,
Hmm.
and just like don't give a fuck. Like that's pretty much it. Like I wore this obviously my fashion is very campy. We do like more costuming. Like this is kind of tame for me. And so like a few weeks ago we did this like sort of like movie theater sort of inspired look, and I
Sure,
had
sure,
this
sure.
really like campy avant-garde like popcorn container headpiece on my head. And somebody when I got off stage was like she was like, this is really cool, but like why are you wearing it? And I was like, I don't know, why not? Like, where
Have
have you
fun.
seen this? Where have you seen that before? Nowhere. Like
Now you're gonna remember it too. Like that's what I think.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
But I think that's cool. Like I'm glad that you are just so like open with not only your music but also just like with how you are as a person. And I think that um, as someone who has gone to see, I can't even count any of my body limbs that how many shows I've been to, and I think it's important for artists to just kind of grow and I think that if anything, it just shows me more that like they are so invested in what they do and want other people to be like, this is me. This is the most authentic, not only from maybe a lyrical perspective, but also musically. This is how I want to perform to you. This is how I want like people to understand about like, what I do and stuff like that. So, I got to give you a lot of kudos for that because, it's very, I want to say difficult, but it's very, unlike most things in life where you're just like, what, this person is like truly authentic to themselves and it takes a lot of I think it takes a lot of credit and a lot of resourcefulness to just want to be the most authentic version of yourself. So yeah, I gotta give you kudos for that.
thank you.
And then the last thing, Madam, along with, telling people where they can find you at on social media, you have a new EP that's going to be released soon. Can you tell the people more about that? Like, how you're feeling about the release, because it's coming out on August 5th. So by the time this comes out, it will be out by that point. How does that feel for you? Because it must be a long time in the making.
Oh my God, it is so long in the making. And we're having a big EP release party on Friday, which is when it comes out.
Very cool.
I cannot believe it's so soon. But we actually have like 150 people RSVP'd right now,
Oh, that's so sick.
which is going to be like, and we're going to do a performance. So it's going to be like the biggest crowd that we have ever played for. And it's just gonna, I don't know, I'm just so excited and so happy. Like it's been such a long time in the making, and like this is only the beginning, like this is just the debut EP. And like so it's just, I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to finally having all this hard work and all this time and energy finally kind of come to fruition. It's gonna be great.
There we go. And then
Yeah.
I have to ask as a personal question, obviously writing music and is very personal and obviously very direct to you, but and I with great obviously with great information, I wanted to know what is your favorite track. I know it's like probably picking a favorite child, from the EP, but is there anyone in particular that you're just like, man, like this is the one?
Um, I will say like the title track classic, that's actually the oldest song on the record. Like everything, I wrote that back in college, and everything else I wrote during quarantine.
Okay.
So it's the oldest song, and it was definitely the first song where I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this thing. Like I think I could do this, you know?
Yeah.
And I used it as my final project for like intro to songwriting.
Oh, very
And
cool.
yeah, and like a lot of like I said, the music business program, like not everybody's interested in being a musician, but we have that like curriculum. And so my professor was kind of like, well, you could just like, if you're not trying to be a songwriter, like just make something silly, make something fun. And like so much of the class like ended up doing that, which is great. And it was really like fun and entertaining. But I like, it made me more nervous because I'm like, here I come with this like very like, you know, vulnerable, like
Oh my
authentic, like,
God.
you know, like, and so, but the reaction was just so awesome, and I was like, hey, like maybe I could do this, you know. And so I think that just like it means something to me in that way.
It was like the starting point of like your musical journey. So I feel like I can resonate with just how, you know, important that is, and you know, authentic it is. It's kind of similarly to like my first interview. Like I'm always gonna hold a chair's place. Like obviously I have some of my favorites that I've had over the many years I've been doing it, but the first one is just like, as much as I watch it, I'm like, man, I was shit at this to start out with. But I wouldn't be at this point now, you know, talking to you if I didn't, you know, just muddle through that shit for an entire year, you know. So I, you know, I gotta give myself, you know, the kudos to that I continued on. But
Yeah.
the last thing, Madam, you know, we took the journey, we had a good time. I hope that again you had a good time as well. But you know, tell the people where they can find you at on social media, what you have coming up very soon, and anything else you want to plug or talk about.
Totally. So you can find me literally everywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms, Madam Daley, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, like I said, all the places, Madam Daley. And if you're in the New York City area, me and my band literally gig constantly. So check us out, see where we're playing, come for a show. It's a good time.
There we go. Well, again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, want to give a huge shout out to Angela at Muddy Paw. She is a wonderful human being, and
She's amazing.
we've been working together for, God, I don't even know how many years. Angela, you can let me know in the comments, but it's been a very long time. So I always appreciate the artists she brings because they're always like the most authentic. So glad to add the Madame to the lineup here. If you did like our conversation, you want to listen to her music, all of the links will be in the description, including her new EP Classic that is coming out on August 5th. So please go give it a listen. It's probably on all streaming services. So if you can go stream it, do it. If you can buy it, better. I don't know if there's any vinyl coming, but I'll be, you know, keeping a bird's eye view on that. So keep updated with Madame Daley. And if you are in New York, like she said, they're gigging all the time, so make sure to go out to a show. And if you found out about her through this interview and you live in New York, like, just shoot me a DM and be like, thanks, Brandon, and I'll be like, no problem, got you. But if you enjoy the content, share, like, subscribe, it goes a long way. And huge thanks to the Madame for coming on and chatting with me today.
Thank you.